Record. I am recording. Okay, so Zinzin gets the Swords of Ditto. Killing all these. Okay. Business first, as per usual. Let's see. Quiz is due tonight. What is that? Quiz 4? I think it's quiz.
I think so.
Yeah. So we got one more quiz left. Maybe 2. Is it 2? I don't know. And tutorial is due Saturday at midnight. We've only got one more tutorial due, which, oh my God, it's like I planned this. That's about the time you're going to start gray boxing. Right? I think. I am working on getting you access to a Perforce server. Quiz 4 is due tonight, which also means tutorial 4 is due tomorrow night. So one of the challenges of working in groups or working in small studios is, especially with something that you're both contributing to, is version control, right? Because I've got my level, you've got your level. How is it that we can both work on this and not screw each other up? That's called version control or source control. Unreal integrates really well with Perforce, which is a server for version control where you check out files, and everyone in a group has access. Unfortunately, we have a limited number of licenses to it, and apparently another class has already jumped in. So I'm working with Professor Roberts to up the license enough to give all of you access to Perforce. Henry?
Yes?
It's just your thing lit up, so I thought you were saying
No.
So yes, Javier, Clown 4700 is today. It's Clown Wolf. So if we can't up the Perforce server to another 26 seats, then Professor Roberts assures me that GitHub will do the same thing. It's not quite as user-friendly, but he has provided a tutorial for it for y'all, which I will share as soon as I know, which will probably be next week sometime. So either way, you'll be able to do some kind of version control. The other thing, though, is think about how you're dividing responsibility between you and your partner for the level. One way to do it is to say, okay, we're going to basically do an inside and an outside. And you're responsible for this building and everything inside it, and I'm responsible for the landscape that building is on. And they are both relatively equal in terms of how much work is needed. So that seems like a good idea. Or I've also seen we're going to divide. We're going to make essentially 2 levels with some sort of end of one level beginning of another level in the middle. And that way you can work on your half, I can work on my half, and when the player gets to the end of this level, they'll go to your level. The problem with both of those approaches is it feels like two people's work many times, in that one person may be more skilled, and they'll do this amazing detail, and then I'll go through a doorway and suddenly it feels like I'm in a whole different world in terms of lighting and materials, and just general deco. So I I don't really recommend that. It would be better if you are both doing passes on both, or say one person is involved in gray boxing and the entire kind of level layout and the lighting, while the other person is doing all the environmental art. Think about it as you're going into your design doc, because it matters. It matters how you break these things up. I don't specify one way to do it over another, because there are lots of ways to do it. The places I've worked, essentially, a level designer was responsible for a set of levels, right? Where you are E2, M3, E2, M6, and E2, M8, right? Whereas Bob over there is E2, M1, and M2, et cetera, et cetera. But then we would have separate people for things like particle effects, right? And so there was one person who that's all they did was fire. And when you needed fire, there were assets available for you to put fire in, but the fire person would run through every level and make sure the fire looked good. We had a dedicated lighting person who would do a polish run. Well, would basically do lighting runs along with as each level was being built. So there would be a preliminary lighting pass, a median lighting pass once textures had started getting put in, and then once everything was done, there would be a polished lighting pass to make it all look good. And there might be more or less because, oh, I lit this and this material now looks like crap. But I've tried a whole bunch of stuff with lights and I can't make it look better. Send it back to the material maker, and we'll do another lighting pass once the material has been fixed or replaced. Are sound design and programming big enough to warrant separate jobs for this project? It depends on your project design, right? So if you've got 3 people in your group, I think there's one group that's 3 people, I'm expecting more from a 3-person group than a 4-person group, right? It should be more polished. So design your level around the strengths of your group. hopefully that makes sense. So if one person has been through all the sound classes and has done a bunch of Unreal Sound stuff, then yeah, put them on doing sound for the level, and have your game essentially be sound based with many more sound cues, triggers, what have you, than someone who's in a group with someone who neither of you have had the sound courses. So design around the strengths of your group. The pitches all seem fine. There was nothing in any of the pitches where I said, no, this is not going to work. Right? You're all in the ballpark. But the devil is in the details. Right? So all of these levels can turn out to be amazing. Or they can turn out to be kind of amateurish, right? Speaking of which, a thing that I saw in the pitches a lot that I want to talk about, and I want to illustrate it with a slide, because it is kind of partially my fault. Partially. Okay. Let's go back to this. And that is an understanding of weenies. Let's share this screen. Share. Let's slideshow. Well, let's just go here. So I talked a bunch about the castle being a weenie and pulling you through Main Street USA. But what I didn't talk about is the fact that weenies are about, they're basically psychological tricks to get players or park goers to go where the designers want them to go. That assumes that there are choices, right? So what I saw a lot of, and I'm gonna switch to share screen. Share screen. I would like my whiteboard. Share whiteboard. I'm gonna actually use a whiteboard. So what I saw a lot of was, I wish I could make this. Let's make it thicker. Okay. Weenie here, right? You got some kind of weenie. And then path to weenie, right? And if the path allows no choice, then the weenie isn't really working on as a weenie. It's just a thing that I have to go towards. So when I look at, let's see, go back to new share. When I look at this and see, this is why I think I saw a lot of that. When you look at this, it looks like a single path towards the castle, right? And it's pulling you to the castle, but there's no other way you can go because it's a street that goes to the castle. So even if that castle wasn't there, people would go down that street to erase that castle, and you'd still go there because there's no other way to go. But that's not true in this, right? Because every single one of those buildings has a door into stuff, whether that's restaurants or shops or a movie theater or whatever, right? So So and the thing that the castle does is keep this kind of crowd from happening, right? So people will bunch up here and, do the thing that's right in front of them, which is go to this store or watch this movie or you leaving? My dog's leaving. Or shop in the ice cream parlor and get ice cream. And you'll have this big clump of people right at the beginning of your park. So so they have a choice. They can do what's there or they can keep going in. And the weenie of the castle is to pull people into the park to get them distributed throughout the entire park rather than have them clump up at the beginning of the park at the beginning of the day. So getting back to new share, getting back to the whiteboard, what you need are other paths. Yeah, this is starting to look unfortunate. I'm going to clear that. Well, oh, well, okay. Go back to drawing. So so now I can here, I wish I could change colors, but I don't think I can. Nope. Spotlight. There. Here. Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's something. Draw. Let's go to this. No, I can't change colors. Let's go to erase that. Wish I could. Okay, let's try this. So I can head straight to the weenie, but I could also meander this way, meander this way, meander this way, and mill about in here, right? So that's the weenie is what's pulling us through. There's a theory of this, or actually a design principle called the wide road. And the wide road is essentially if so we have a road that we want our player to travel. We want them to go from point A to point B, right? So early games, because of hardware limitations and engine limitations, early 3D games were what we call corridor shooters, where essentially you proceed down a corridor from point A to point B. There are obstacles in the corridor, which you overcome by generally shooting them or doing other environmental kind of puzzles to get by them. You get to point B, and then yay, the episode is over, the level is over. But as processing power and engines and such became more powerful. So early on, this was the size of our person. They went from point A to point B. Half-Life is a corridor shooter. Doom is a corridor shooter. Quake is a corridor shooter. Although Doom and Quake use the old, you can't go here until you get the red key and the blue key, and they gate it with keys. So that's a narrow road. If we want a wide road, and say our person, and basically I should be redrawing the road as much wider, but instead I'm drawing the person as much smaller because I am smart. Then if the road becomes wider and my path suddenly becomes this. Right? And I get to point B, but I meander along the road because it's wide enough that it allows me to meander, right? So I gotta calibrate. Okay. Sorry, my wolf seemed to be leaning. So the idea being that on a narrow road, so let's do a narrow road with a dude or a person. There is event A, and then there's event B, and then there's event C, and there's event D. Oh, D, right? And I travel through and I hit every single one of them, right? Because this is because the road is so narrow that I'm going to hit every single event, every single thing that can possibly happen on that road. But if the road becomes wide, then event A is here, event B is here, event C is here, event D is here, event E is here, and event F is here, right? So then suddenly my experience of the wide road becomes B, D, C, E, F. I don't see A at all, and C and D are out of order, right? And that's a different experience than someone else who, again, I wish I could change colors, but I'll try this. This person goes like this, and their experience is a much quicker because they're speed running ACF, right? So that becomes a harder thing to design in terms of level design because ACF needs to still make as much sense as ABCDEF, and BDCEF still has to make sense as you travel down the road, right? So what starts to happen is format. Oh, here, red. We have primary and secondary story beats, right? Where B and D are secondary. Maybe C. Well, so usually it's C and E are also secondary, right? And the only things you need to hit are A and F, right? And those are what we consider the prime story. As you let's see, do I have, oh wow, okay, that's a different thing. Okay, as your road gets wider and wider, your problems with your story beats become more and more anti-linear, more and more nebulous. So what you end up with is story beats A tells part of story beat A is to tell you to go to this particular landmark so that you can get story beat F, both of which are crucial, right? The inevitable widest road is what we now consider open world, right? So we started with corridor shooters that are essentially linear, and we end up with erase some stuff. Boom, 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 boom. We end up with a map, and we have A and B and C and D as our main story quest, and then we start putting what we call side quests, 2, 3, 4. I don't know why D was green. I guess I was still in D when I changed it to green. So so what happens is I start wandering around my map, which is gigantic, and determining what quest lines I want to partake in, and ignoring others. And that's where we get our Bethesda games, where we get our Fallouts and our Skyrims. And the kind of amazing part, and I think many people agree with me, is that our main quest line, our main storyline, is very rarely the most interesting quest line in those games. Any ideas why that would be? I mean, the Skyrim main quest line, it's okay. It's not great. I am Dragonborn, and to promote exploration.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing as Sarah.
Maybe. The idea. So here's the thing. Do people finish Skyrim? And what is finished? I think it's because the smaller quests let you get kooky, weird, and explore other parts of the map you'd miss in the main quest. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. one of the things we found when working with I haven't worked with open world. I've worked with wide road. So immersion in the world building, sure. The biggest thing is your main quest is not optional, right? The main quest is the one that advances time or changes the state of the world, right? So there are lots, like Assassin's Creed I've played a lot of over the years, and sometimes, well, it's clear what main quests are main quests versus side quests, and like the one I played last spring was Unity, which is the French Revolution one. And I'm running around doing side quests, or actually, I think very early in the game, I was trying to do. Oh, okay. Something else is happening. I was trying to do one of the side quests, and I realized I didn't have the skills to do it. But it was there. I could do it. But I got killed every time I tried it. And it was because I hadn't unlocked a particular skill that only unlocks. I was still in kind of the tutorializing section of the game. And I hadn't unlocked the thing I needed to do that quest with. And it didn't tell me that you need to be this far along in the main quest line before you should really try this. Right. So I was trying this darn quest over and over again and just getting myrtleized over and over again. And then I was like, well, screw this. Let's do the next bit of story. And lo and behold, now I've got my little stabby wrist blades, and that quest is easy. So one of the things we could do in our side quests because they're optional, I can put a much harder challenge in a side quest than in a main quest, because you don't have to do it, right? So the toughest bosses, the really kind of crazy boss, is usually in the side quest, or the super kind of world breaking equipment as reward you get in the side quests, because you don't necessarily have to do those. So, okay. Corridor, wide road, open world. Those are three things you should be thinking of. One of Fallout 4's side quests lets you call down nukes when you complete it. Same in Fallout 3. You can blow up the starter town. And that closes off a whole section of quest lines. And they were touting that. I don't know. I think everybody goes and sets off the nuke just to see it. And then, I don't know, I save scum right back so I can do all those quests. One of the side quests in New Vegas gives you an orbital cannon. Yeah, it is a nice visual. I try to I generally have my story because I like stories. So I don't like to save scum and do the possibility space until I'm done with a game and I want to see everything. So okay. So so getting back to weenies, I saw a lot of weenies at the ends of corridors, right? In all your pitches. And at the very least, you need a wide road for a weenie to work. And remember, the weenie is not only to pull you to a place, but to orient you when you're in other places. So if the weenie is on my right, I know where I am. If the weenie is on my left, I know where I am. Hide the weenie sometime and then reveal it, and you've got a moment where I'm like, I'm much closer to the weenie than I used to be. So getting back to Disney World, remember how I said that Adventureland does not have a weenie? Let me pull up the map. Actually, I want a better map. Disneyland map. Let's see if I can pull something up. That's more detailed. Let's see. This is the current map, I think. Park map. Can I get Disney's California Adventure? Okay, I'm going to share this so you don't just sit there listening to me mumble. Share. And then I want to zoom. No. Okay. That zooms the text, but it doesn't zoom. I want to zoom in on the map part, the picture. Gotta know. Okay, going back here. Disneyland. Printable map of Disneyland. No. Oh, I hate Pinterest. Why can't I get one that I can zoom in on? That's the guide map for Galaxy's Edge. Okay. Well,
And you could try opening the image in a new tab.
Okay. Let's try that. Thank you. Open image in new tab. Okay. Yes, thank you. Okay. So I can't quite zoom in. I want to zoom in right here. So this is Adventureland in Disneyland. And the thing is, it's not, we got chat. And then zoom in, that should work. Thanks, Nick. Okay, so one of the things about this exact piece of corridor is, you see, this is like this is Indiana Jones, but it's set back. This is the Jungle Cruise, which is the biggest part of Adventureland in terms of square footage. But the only thing you see is this little building here, and it's all kind of it's tight. This entire section twists a bit more than I think is shown here, and it's a bit narrower than is shown here, in that so this is bathrooms back here, and at least last time I was there, I think there was a wall across this section right here. So this was basically a bunch of people waiting for their family members to get out of this bathroom. So it's crowded with people just milling about right here. This is the Enchanted Tiki room, and there's like a restaurant here. And then this is a block of shops with on the other side the Jungle Cruise, and here we get the Tarzan's treehouse. Even Indiana Jones, you don't see this big temple. You see just another kind of archway to lead you into what is the line for Indiana Jones, but is in total the switchbacks of the line to get you into the ride, and then the walk back is a half a mile of walking if you're going through all the switchbacks. Even so, it's a long bunch of stuff there. And it's not until you get past this corner, and this is a very tight bit right here, that you can see the rivers of America, and then you see the weenie for another land. So there's no real weenie here. There's just a path pushing you through, and it's kind of terrible. Adventureland to walk through is like one of the worst sections because people stop to look at the stuff in the shops. There's like a little shop and tables around here, and people are waiting for other people to get out of rides. The treehouse, I like to joke, is a line without a ride at the end, because it's a walkthrough. So there is as much to do in the line waiting to get on the ride for Indiana Jones as there is in the entire quote unquote ride of Tarzan's treehouse, which is just look at things and keep walking. And then you get spilled back out onto right here. And it's just a mob in here. It's terrible. But the idea is Control Plus. Nope, it doesn't do it. So the idea is that there is adventure waiting around every corner, and that there's nothing pulling you through this because you have to discover the adventures. They applied the same thing to Disney Animal Kingdom map. Okay, let's see if I can pull this. Please, please, please. Okay, so open image in new tab. And then, is that it? Yes. Okay, so the entrance is down here, And from the entrance, you can't see anything of Animal Kingdom. There is a bunch of windy paths. Again, you can't see anything of the park, the greater park. But eventually you come out to a vista of the tree, which is over here, right? So it is in the distance. The idea with Animal Kingdom is that, you know, you are in the wilds, and they're applying the same adventure idea, is that you have to discover things by wandering these little paths. And when Animal Kingdom first opened, these paths were much tighter and much more windy, and you could essentially, people would get lost in this section of the park without and be like, where's the park, and have a bad experience. So within 5 years of opening the park, they widened all these paths so that people, I mean, there's really nothing here but parrots. There's a bird show here, I think. And that's about it. This is also old. Camp Mini Mickey is gone, and this is Pandora now. And there's actually, that's the safari area. Yeah. So a bunch of this is different now, very different. But it's worth saying that without a weenie to pull people through as an entrance, this didn't work, because you want to get people deep into your park and move around. And when I say park, I mean your level, right? Okay, let's go back to storytelling. Here we go. Share. And I disagree with. So this is original from the original talk, where he was circling all the weenies in Disneyland, and he made the tree a weenie, and I don't know what that is. If that if that's Jungle Cruise. I don't know what exactly he's saying is a weenie, but there are no weenies here. That tree just looks like all the rest of the foliage, and you're at a loss in this little section, whereas every other section has something to pull you deeper in. Okay, so when last I talked a week ago, and I'm already an hour in, geez Louise, we had just gotten to dark rides. View, no, slideshow from current slide. And I am sharing the wrong thing. So I'm going to stop, and I am going to share the right thing, which is this. Share. Okay. So now you're seeing the slide. And I want to make sure chat is up, but I can't see chat. Oh, it's over here. Chat. No, I can't see chat. Sorry, I can't see chat. So if you have something to say, you got to say it out loud. Okay, so this is Pirates of the Caribbean. I talked about dark rides. Dark rides are essentially a series of tableaus that tell a story. They started as scary things. Remember how early amusement parks were designed around couples, and designed. Think about it. In the early 1900s, proper men and women did not touch each other during respectable dates. But if you went to an amusement park and gravity threw you against each other, well, hey, it's gravity, right? So one of the other things about the dark ride is you'd be in the dark and then lights would go on and show you a scary thing. And then using your proper gender roles, the woman would be afraid and jump into the man's arms for protection, thus fulfilling the proper need of an amusement park to have fun dates, I guess. The original dark rides were either scary tableaus for the express purpose, well, to be scary, scary, and allow people to touch each other, or historical things that were educational. Amazingly, I'm from Pennsylvania, and I'm about an hour away from Pennsylvania, Dutch country, the heart of Lancaster. And my parents loved this buffet place in Lancaster. And I don't know if you've ever been to Lancaster, but this buffet place is run by Mennonites, I guess, because it's got to be run by Mennonites because it's got tech. Mennonites are Amish with tech. That's a horrible reduction of a belief system, and I'm not proud of it, but that's what I got. In the middle, around the walls of this this buffet place, which was literally acres long, and it was mostly in the line to get into the buffet place. And I have never seen this much food in one place at one time, where you pay your entrance fee and you just walk from place to place and with a plate. I assume it's out of business in COVID, because I saw some horrible practices there among the patrons where this one woman scooped the food off a giant serving spoon with her finger and then put the serving spoon back in the buffet. I was just like, oh, whatever. Anyway, long story short, too late. There were tableaus around the edge of this buffet place detailing the journey that the Amish or Mennonites had made to come to this great new world and establish themselves in a place where freedom of religion was practiced. Historical nature of things, wholesome attractions, and scary things to help with the procreation of the species. Pirates of the Caribbean falls more in the second category, but still has claims towards, hey, pirates existed. Let me tell you the story of pirates. So you can break down Pirates of the Caribbean into essentially three sections, with a beginning and an end. In fact, he leaves out, and again, this is a slide from the original talk. It's not my slide. If you've got the ride in Disneyland is different than the ride in Disney World, Actually, can I show you stop share? Sorry, I'm going to do this again. I keep doing it. Pirates of the Caribbean Disneyland ride let's say full ride. Okay. This is full ride and queue. Okay. I am going to share this. What it's going on, but this is the queue. Share screen. Share. Boom. Share. Okay. So this is the queue for Pirates of the Caribbean.
And watch your children.
You get
And
in.
no flash pictures. Prepare to make sail. When your boat stops, please be stepping out to your right.
I think this goes all the way to 4K. So here's the part that he doesn't have on the slide, which is the very beginning, which is Pirates of the Caribbean is in New Orleans Square in Disneyland, but it's in Adventureland in Disney World. So if you've only ridden Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney World, the queue is different, the building is different, and the beginning of the ride itself is different. Here you get a lake that looks like the Louisiana Bayou.
Hey, Dean,
Yes.
could you turn the video down? We can't hear you talking at all when it's playing.
Okay. Okay. So, is that better?
Much better.
Okay. So, this is a bayou, and he's just showing on the right. There's like, it's actually a restaurant called the Blue Bayou. You can go in here and eat dinner, and people on the ride will go past you as you're eating dinner. And on the right, the restaurant itself is designed to look like Louisiana big plantations. So you've got this kind of bayou thing, and you've got this big plantation house, and it doesn't look like anybody's eating at during this video. It's earlier in the day. They only open for 10. And the other kind of wonderful thing you can kind of see, there are fireflies going about here that are LEDs, because this is all fake. So there's nothing piratey about this. This is the Louisiana Bayou. This is the prologue that says, okay, you're in this world. You've been in the Louisiana Bayou. Now let's get on a boat and let's take you somewhere where it's mysterious and interesting. And there's this guy here who looks like, well, more or less modern day, right? This certainly isn't 1700s pirate stuff. This is overalls, right? So what's going on here? There's nothing piratey about it. He's just an old guy smoking a pipe. And there's speculation he shows up later, that same model, that same face, back in time, as a younger man, but I'm skeptical about it. Okay, so you go past this, and then it gets really dark. Ooh. Yeah, nothing much is happening. I think this particular ride got stuck. And it's not in the darkness. You see this. And that's a talking pirate flag. And he gives you the instructions, you know, to keep your arms in.
There be squalls ahead.
There be squalls ahead.
Davy Jones waiting for them. What don't obey?
This is much better than showing you pictures.
It'd be too late to alter course, mate.
And I believe you get your first drop here. Things speed up and you go down. And you're in these kind of magical caves. So we've left present day and we're in kind of a magical place. And we can faintly hear pirates singing. Here's our first drop. Here we go. I can see it. And that's fun. Whoa! Okay, so if we go, we are traveling back in time. We have gone to a different era. Go forward a little bit. Okay, and in this whole section of caves, we've got pirate skeletons. And these are the dead pirates. These are where their treasure might be. And we can see the fate of pirates. Pirates die. Pirates die violently. And then, oh, this is one of my favorites. We're still in skeletons. I think they're playing chess. But we see all their treasure. Okay, so enough of riding Pirates of the Caribbean. Let's go back to the PowerPoint slide. Screen 2. Yes, share. Okay. Nope, that's not it. New share. Screen 2, share. Should be. I'm going to stop the share. Okay. Yes. Owen, normal everyday life, call to adventure. There are 2 drops. The first was in the darkness. This is the second one. Okay. You're probably right. Because I believe the first is in the darkness, and then I know there are 2 drops. So getting back to my Zoom meeting, let's share. Let's see if I can get the right share. That's screen 1. This should be screen 2. Yes. Okay, share. Okay, so we're back to here. We start with skeletons, then we get the battle between the pirate ship and the fort. We get the pirates attacking the city. We get the sacked city. The city is on fire, and in fact, the fire in this ride was so realistic that the fire marshals, when they originally came and inspected the place in 1967, when Pirates of the Caribbean opened, they said you have to make the fire less real, because if there is a real fire in here, no one will be able to tell what's real and what's fake, and it will put lives at risk. So they had to tone down the fake fire, which is still really good. And in fact, also another little known fact, the fake fire was there was an entire company founded to create fire effects, and they used the money, the profits from Mary Poppins to found this company to make fake fire effects. And the name of the company is like MPEF or something like that, which is Mary Poppins effects something or other. So the money that they made from Mary Poppins went into the fire in Pirates of the Caribbean. So so you have Escape the Burning City, and then here's the big thing, and the difference between Disneyland and Disney World. In Disneyland, you go back up the hill. You ride. You know how in roller coasters you get hooked at the chain at the beginning, and you go up the top of the hill, and then it drops you on your roller coaster ride. Here, you stay in the boat and go back up the hill to the getting out area of your of the ride. In Disney World, you get out of the boat at the bottom of that hill, and the boats go up the hill empty, and you go up what is not an escalator, but one of those people mover belts like in the airports, except on an incline. So it's argued that the Disneyland Pirates is better than the Disney World Pirates because Disney World Pirates doesn't have that Blue Bayou, Louisiana Bayou thing at all, and it doesn't have the return to safety. So you never get to the part of the ride is not getting you back to the real world, the transport back to the real world. You are left to walk back to the real world on your own. So that's the structure of the story. It's an escape explore structure. Let's see if I can go to the next one, but we can translate that to a level, a moral story structure. The first thing we hear is Dead Men Tell No Tales. That's all through the Magic Caves. You can hear both the, I believe the skeleton keeps intoning "Dead Men Tell No Tales." We find the beginning is the fate of the pirates, so it's kind of a backwards morality tales. We see their sins and we see the wages of sin because that entire burning city thing is all about the pirates getting their comeuppance, being chased by women with frying pans, the dog being locked in prison, and the dog not giving them their keys. And you notice I haven't said anything about Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow, but Johnny Depp and Jack Sparrow was added to Pirates later, at the height of the movie popularity. And he pops up throughout. And now the last scene of the both Pirates is Jack Sparrow sitting in a giant treasure room, surrounded by treasure, and all drunk. And it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of spoils it, because you see him getting his heart's desire, which screws up the original story of Pirates. So then at the end, we're reminded that dead men tell no tales. And it's really a story of pirating looks fun, but dead men tell no tales. You'll all end up dead. And your treasure, you can't take it with you. Okay. So think about that in terms of tableaus. Think about story told in multiple tableaus instead of each tableau. Well, each of these Pirates tableaus is its own story, but they add to each other to tell a bigger tale. Okay. Time is it? Oh, I got lots of time. Okay. So, other things. Main Street. Main Street is a rest area. Main Street is where you go when you don't want to ride rides. The only rides in Main Street are transportation rides. You got to give your players some rest. And this is essentially what vistas are for. Is I just had a very pulse pounding or brain bending puzzle solving or pulse pounding fight. Now let's calm down. Now let's give a rest and give me something beautiful to look at, a vista. Give me something nice to hear, ambient sounds, and let's all calm down a bit until we get to our next thing. And we can feel safe in certain sections. So if we go back to Ethan Carter, right? We get the whole, well, so first we get the legless man, and that's really our tutorial in what we're going to be doing in this game. And even so, it's kind of hard. I didn't realize the first time I played it, I was like, what? Because I didn't know what the game was. And then immediately after that, we get the astronaut chase, which is the other kind of thing in the game. One thing is what happened to Ethan Carter and his family, and the other is looks into Ethan Carter's imagination. So that astronaut thing is very scary and very off-putting, even though nothing much happens. It's kind of beautiful when it does happen, where you're chasing that astronaut through the woods, and then you get to go to space, and then you're in a treehouse. But think about this. Right after all of that kind of excitement in the two modes of gameplay of the game, there's a long section where you can explore that train station, explore the woods near the train station, go over the dam, look at the vistas of what is to come. And it's not until you get to the other side of the dam that you get your next puzzle section. So Main Street is our rest area, is our shopping and eating and resting area. The Dapper Dans are there singing. Even the rides shut down when it's too crowded, because the rides are all transportation up and down Main Street. And if Main Street is packed, they don't want any, horses hurting anyone, or anyone hurting horses, or anyone getting hit by even slow moving vehicles. So there are many other rest areas, but this is a whole land dedicated to calming down from the other lands. I'm going to skip that. Okay. So these are details. I already talked about the overarching kind of architectural idea of Toontown as being no straight lines. It is even their safety signs have jokes on them, right? And there are no straight lines on this please play safely sign. So details matter, and your small details should be in keeping with the larger look and feel of your level. Deco matters, right? So this is Frontierland. These are just all little things that are around Frontierland that you can see. So this down here is the inside of the fort, but then Frontierland opens up. So you've only got this fort wall, but this is where U.S. cavalry hats, ammo, this is where we hole up and fight off, I hate to say it, but the Native Americans, because that's what Frontierland is. I'm embarrassed by the wooden Indian, but there's one in Frontierland. There's also one out on Main Street, USA. But that is part of the overall aesthetic of the area. It makes sense for that area. Okay, I was pointing here for the fort. These are all things that would be in the fort. I was on the wrong screen pointing. Even the lights look like they're from Frontierland. Same with Toontown. The lanterns, the water fountains, this red trolley used to move, and they stopped it moving because Toontown gets too crowded, and after a while it never moved again. So now it's essentially a bench. Details matter. Popcorn, get it? Popcorn. Anyway, even the waste baskets are themed throughout Disneyland. Every different area has a different deco on the waste basket. So you don't use a Tomorrowland wastebasket in a Frontierland area, right? But the same goes for you guys. Okay. Remember, we're doing walkies, or at least that's the minimum if you guys want to make a shooter, and you're confident in how to do that. Feel free. But there are, in fact, there was one year we had a final project where you wake up next to what is obviously a car accident, and the weenie is lights on in a cabin in the woods, and you wander through the woods and you hear snarling in the woods, and you wander to the cabin, and they've been through what looks like a terrible wolf attack. There are dead bodies everywhere. And eventually you have to confront what is a werewolf. And they did it all. It was a good story. They did it all with sound and with moving shadows and moving meshes, where you felt like you were being stalked by wolves, but they never got close enough to actually attack you until the story dictated it. So none of these characters are going to kill you. You are much more likely to die for real in the Carousel of Progress than in any of these rides. Carousel of Progress has killed mostly cast members who are trying to get from one room to another while the carousel is in motion, and they get squished. I've heard up to 11 people have died in the Carousel of Progress, but they don't publish those numbers. Okay, so cheating death is a major theme in Disneyland attractions. You want to feel that danger, but know you're safe. That is the basic tenet of all roller coasters. Here, this lady here, she's the evil witch in Snow White, the Snow White Dark Ride. The Snow White Dark Ride was originally called Snow White's Adventures. And the idea with the Snow White Dark Ride was that you are Snow White, and you go through the dark ride, and you are menaced by all the things that menace Snow White. And there's still a scene of the dwarves dancing and such, but there was no Snow White in the Snow White ride, and it was one of the first dark rides that opened in Disneyland, and people would come out with two reactions. Where the hell was Snow White? And that was so scary. My child is crying. Why do you hate fun? So they renamed Snow White's Adventures to Snow White's Scary Adventures, to warn people that it is a scary ride. And they added Snow White at the beginning and I believe at the end. At the beginning, she's in a cottage, and she's recounting. Now she's the one telling you of her adventures as you go through the rest of the ride. And at the end, she's there with her prince, right? So happy ending, yay. This warnings, implied threats, set the mood. You can never have enough skeletons. Think about how many skeletons are in Disneyland. This has changed since he put this slideshow together. There are many more skeletons in Disneyland than there used to be. Skeletons are your friends. Skeletons, well, no, they're not. They're not the players' friends. Think of how many dead bodies you have seen in video games. It is a way to warn people that danger is ahead. Okay. Warning and foreshadowing. Hey, that worked out. I didn't even mean to do that. Foreshadowing of scary things is always scarier than the actual thing. It's a rule. advice, whatever, in horror movies, the longer you can not show the monster, the scarier your movie will be. Jaws became what it is as the first blockbuster, because the mechanical shark they made was malfunctioning for most of the shoot, so Spielberg had to shoot it from the shark's point of view, and you don't actually see the shark, which nowadays looks a little silly, until the very end. So it is terrifying to see people swimming, see no shark, and have them jerk like they're being bitten by a shark. What you can't see is always scarier than what you can. So if you want a sense of danger and foreboding, suggest bad things. Don't show bad things. And what I've also seen a lot of in these final projects is people put things in their level that they think are magical or interesting, and they come across as foreboding and scary. And your players are like, I ain't going in there. There's like lightning in there. And the creators, the developers are like, look at this. Look how cool this looks. And they mean it as an enticement to pull people along, a weenie, when in fact it is a foreboding warning to not come in here, right? So especially if that's something in darkness. I once had a level where they made what looked like a steel grate floor. So they put a material on the floor, so the whole thing looked like a steel grate. And then they found a particle effect, which was lightning arcing. And they put lightning arcing all over the steel floor. And gave the player no other way but to walk across that steel floor with lightning arcing. Now, if you have lightning arcing on a steel floor, and the player steps on it, they think they're about to be electrocuted and die. The designers did not put any damage in at all. They just thought it was a cool effect that looked cool, and had no thought that people would think, that their players would think, this is a horrible environmental trap that is going to kill me. So, well, this is where testing comes in, right? Look at what scares people. So here we've got high voltage. This is all Indiana Jones line. Remember I said it was a half mile long. There is so much in the Indiana Jones line. He's going into the temple of a snake goddess. And so we've got this snake motif all over the place. And of course, we know that Indiana Jones is terrified of snakes. So first we get suggestions of snakes, and then we get outright giant frickin' snakes. And we've got switchbacks throughout that direct our view to every piece of this line. This line is kind of one of the coolest things. I kind of like the line on this ride better than the ride itself. These are those snakes. The funny thing is, you never get to go up these stairs here. you're going on switchbacks, and you eventually come down here and go inside here. But the stairs itself next to the snakes, you can't go on. This is from Muppets 3D. Muppets 3D Ride is also a masterclass in telling you a story. There's a lot of Gonzo in the ride. Gonzo's a space alien. Did you know that? Gonzo's an alien. This is his spaceship. We've got all sorts of things to look at. Every single one of them is this is theoretically the studio where Muppets make movies. So everything you need for a movie is here in this storehouse, right? And there's Gonzo again. His motorcycle got out of control, and he ended up going through the wall. So there's all sorts of stories here. The Muppet stuff is obviously more lighthearted than the Indiana Jones stuff. So weenies within smaller weenies are smaller views. Not every weenie has to be a giant building. So within Tarzan's treehouse, we can see, oh, look, there's like this cool balcony and rooms and like a house up there. How do we get there? And one of the other things, which I haven't talked about as much. I want to go to meeting controls. Is new share. I'm going to go back to my whiteboard. Share. Can I clear this? How do I clear this? Whiteboard. Come on. Where are my tools? Oh, they're over here. Okay, I got to stop. Okay. Share whiteboard. Okay, share. Okay, here we go. Now I got my tools. So I want to clear everything. Clear all drawings. Okay. So one more time, let's put a weenie. Let's make it, I don't know. So we've got a weenie, right? Whatever it may be. And then we're going to go to this, and I'm going to draw that. So see lots of straight lines, right? Leading to the weenie. But that kind of defeats the purpose, because if I can't go any other way, then the weenie isn't actually pulling. It's just there. So if I make switchbacks, right there, and let's use purple, and I make blocks so that I can only see the weenie at certain times. So for instance, again, go here. So I see the weenie now. Let's give me red. I can, oh, I can see the weenie, right? I can't see the weenie here, but I can see the weenie when I'm here. I can see the weenie when I'm here, and I can see the weenie when I'm here, right? So by blocking the view to the weenie, just like anything else, by only giving me glimpses of it and keep offering it to me and then taking it away from me, I make the weenie more interesting, right? So if I'm always staring at it, it's like, oh, that's the thing, right? But if I only see it sometimes, then, oh my God, I saw it. Did you see it? Did you see it? Because it was there just for a second. We got to get there. Okay. So the idea of offering me glimpses, I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to go back. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm seeing all your chat stuff now that I couldn't see before. I wish I can respond to it, but it seems like when I'm in PowerPoint takes over and I can't see anything but PowerPoint. So if we provide sneak peeks, so this is something you can see from the Tarzan or from the Indiana Jones line, but it's not part of Indiana Jones at all. You're looking into the Jungle Cruise, right? Oh, look at that. I wonder what that is. I can't even get there. I have to go on a different ride. So suddenly that makes gives me another goal beyond the immediate goal. So the immediate goal is ride this ride, explore what happened to Indy, and the next, once we do that, what do we do then, right? And I just get this glimpse of this it looks like a monkey god. Maybe we'll go investigate that next. Environmental storytelling, right? It's all over the Indiana Jones ride. So a couple things here. This is an actual language. When it opened, you could get a card from cast members with a key to translate this from this language, which is, I believe, a made-up language, to English, and these are messages. This is a foreshadowing of the goddess who is in the ride itself, and you're not supposed to look her in the eye. If you look her in the eye, she turns vengeful and tries to kill you. And of course, in the ride, you can't help but look her in the eye. So they're telling you, they're foreshadowing that. This is the actual truck that was used in the Indiana Jones movie, in Raiders. It's the actual prop. You can go, you can look at it, you can I think you can touch it. And if you look all through here, these are all artifacts from the exploration of the tomb that you're purportedly going in. And I believe there's an Easter egg in here of I'm trying to remember. There's definitely something from one of the indie movies. There are also crates that are going to Club Obi-Wan, and other fun things in that line. Juxtaposing interior and exterior spaces. You've got the capability to go interior or exterior, right? You know how. Take me both places. That's the kind of wonderful thing. You keep popping in and out of the outdoors and the indoors, and you eventually get into what feels like it's deep underground. So let me go in and out. That's one of the reasons why the second thing I have you learn is make a doorway from the inside to the outside. You can make an underground bunker with skylights in it. Put those foreboding threats in your environment. They don't have to kill people, but they may have killed people in the past, right? Also, when you pull the rope, you can hear the crash and the scream from the guy down in the well. It's all sorts of fun. Don't step on diamond-shaped stones. Nothing will happen if you step on the diamond-shaped stones. They used to have actually, though, they used to have like spikes pop out of the roof in areas where you couldn't be, so you can't get hurt by them. They stopped that because I don't know, they decided it was too dangerous, that it might possibly hurt someone. But what you do get are puffs of air that feel like blow darts going by you. So that's kind of fun. And see, it's all about the Indiana Jones line. Teach them what they need to know, right? There's a whole chapter in the book. The chapter that you're reading this week is World 1-1, right? Your tutorial, your first, if you're making, say, a 15-minute game, your first third, your first 5 minutes are the most crucial, because you have to teach me how to play your game. So in Indiana Jones and in all the modern big time theme park rides nowadays, there's what they call a pre-show. In this one, you've got John Rhys Davies explaining what has happened at this temple, that Indy is in there, and that we've lost a whole bunch of people in there, and how to buckle up and how not to get lost in the temple. So you all have ways of communicating with your players, either through sound files or through subtitles. Remember, subtitles don't need a sound file to play. You can put words on the screen at any point with a trigger. Tell me what I need to know. It's best if the information is part of the world. So in this case, John Rhys Davies, who is Sulla, right, is explaining how to put a seatbelt on in the actual ride vehicle that is theoretically in I don't know, 1930s India. I believe this is India. But if you can't figure out a way to say, press A to pick up an object that is part of the world, it's perfectly fine to put on the screen, press A to pick up object. We'll understand. Anticipation. Hilarious thing. Oh, I screwed it up. Hilarious thing. Oh, we're almost there. We're almost there. Right? We're about to get on the ride. You can see people getting on the ride. Here's the thing. From this point, you actually have to go up a set of stairs, across a corridor that is basically a bridge over the track, and then down another set of stairs before you see empty cars coming in. Right? So this is the worst place this happens, is in the Roger Rabbit ride in Toontown, where you walk in and you see people getting on the ride and you think, oh, I'm here. I'm about to get on the ride. And then the line takes you through this twisting path that seems to go on forever. And because of that early anticipation, the 20 minutes that you have to wait to get back to that space, because you can't see that space from most of the line, feels like forever. I have waited in that line, and I thought this was 45 minutes waiting in this line, and I checked the watch and it was 20. So honestly, the anticipation backfired in the Roger Rabbit line because they gave it to me too early. In Indiana Jones, it's better because you're almost at the end, but then they kind of fake you out with that bridge, and the line is a little bit longer. And once you go on the adventure, the way out is clear. It's straight. It starts obviously underground, but it's well lit, and opens up into the outdoors, and it's quite pleasant. It's quiet. It's not crowded. One of the nicest places in any of the parks is the path on the way out of rides, because people move quickly because it's over and they want to get to the next thing. But if you want a rest area, a quiet area, these paths are the best places. And the one in Animal Kingdom coming out of Dinosaur, there's actually benches, and it's just a nice place to sit and chill out. So this has changed, but does anybody have a guess of how many skeletons there are in Disneyland? Chat. Let's go back to chat. Enderman. Whoa, there's 120, 95,000. Depends on how many guests there are. Well, at the time that this talk was made, the answer is 12. I don't think that's true anymore. We've got Haunted Mansion skeletons, but there's more than that skeleton in the Haunted Mansion. Pirates, Indiana Jones Adventure, Big Thunder Mountain, Peter Pan's Flight, Pirate's Lair, Roger Rabbit's Toonspin, Jungle Cruise, Snow White's Scary Adventure, The Railroad, Frontierland Shooting Gallery, and Tarzan's Treehouse. I think there's more. Yes, McKenna. The real skull in Pirates is supposed to be in the bedroom. The skull in the headboard of the skeleton bedroom is supposed to be a real skull. Disney denies that it's a real skull because that would be scary. Whether or not it's a real skull is still a fun exercise. Also, the chess game that the Skeleton Pirates are playing is supposed to be known as a dead man's game, or it's a draw. Yeah, of course they would deny it. It's supposed to be an unwinnable game, which is why the pirates playing chess have been sitting there studying the game to do the next move until they become skeletons. And originally that chessboard was set up for that particular game, but over the years, the cast members who've reset the place have just put the chess pieces wherever they felt like. And so it may be the actual dead man's game, or the draw, or it may not, depending on the time you go see it. I am going to stop sharing. Oh, that's my. I'm going to stop sharing. I am over time. Oh my God. Okay. Tutorial due tomorrow at midnight. Quiz due tonight at midnight. I'm behind. I haven't gotten last week's tutorials done. I've gotten about half of the original case studies graded. Obviously, I got all the pictures graded. So, and don't forget to your design docs are due on Tuesday. So look over the template and work on your design docs. Okay. I will see y'all on Tuesday.
Bye-bye.